The recording is beginning. Give me 1 minute. Okay, let me share my screen. Good. So till now, what we have seen, please put it in the back of your mind. We have done with the future value of single cash flow, and in that we have taken both kind of compounding. One is periodic, another one is continuous. Then we have covered the future value of annuity. I have also shared with you the pen paper formula which can be solved manually. In that we have seen ordinary, then we have seen due, and we have also taken the sum of deferred annuity. Right? Now this is what we have done till now. Now annuity mein, we assume that there is a compounding of periodic in nature. But if in annuity there is a continuous compounding, that variety is yet to be covered. That is the point number one. The third point that we are going to begin with today is the differential cash flow. So continuous compounding annuity will be taken in some time to come. Then it's a differential cash flow. And you people are aware about the differential cash flow as well, that sir, it's not an annuity. So we are investing for some period of time, but in each and every period, the amount of investment that you are making are uneven. Some people also call it as the uneven cash flow. So in a year number one, say you are investing 15,000, then year number two, you are investing 20,000, then 50,000 again, then 20,000 again. So each of this transaction will be considered a separate transaction, and we'll be solving the questions accordingly. So I'm just writing one question in front of you, and you will be solving it along with me over here. Let's start the question. Say there are 5 years, and that fellow is investing 50,000 of rupees in the year number one, 60 in year number two, 70 in year number three, 80 in year number four, and 90 in year number five. Now here in this case, the PMT is not same. It is getting changed over a period of time. So it's the case of the differential cash flow. Am I clear? Now say for example, if that fellow is expecting the rate of return of say 15% per annum, and compounding frequency is also a per annum. And I'm also writing it over here. The compounding frequency is per annum. Now in this case, how will be solving the question? If this would have been the pen paper question, then we would have multiplied that with the compounding factor. So basically the formula of the FV of single cash flow is PV multiplied by 1 plus R raised to N. That's pretty much clear to every one of us, right? Now 1 plus R raised to N can also be called as the compounding factor. So what we'll do is, PV of all the years, the amount of investment of all the years is known to us. We would just be finding the compounding factor for all this number of years, and we'll be multiplying that with the amount of investment. We'll have the future value in total. As simple as that. But one thing that you should be taking care of is that whether the investment is made at the beginning or at the end. Say if it is made at the beginning of the year, that means you get the interest for the last year as well. But if it is made at the end of the year, the interest of the last year obviously will not be given to you, because you are investing at the end, and you'll be taking your money on the same day only. So if it is invested at the beginning of the year, you get the interest for the last period too. But if it is at the end, then you do not get the interest for the last period. And accordingly, the n will also change. So I'm just right now finding it manually. 1 plus r raised to n. So that would be 1.15. 15 stands for the r. So that's been added in 1. Now n would be, say we are investing at the beginning of the period. So that means this 50,000 is also invested at the beginning of the first year. So in total, you get the interest for how many number of years? 5 number of years. Then here it would be 1.15 raised to 4. Here this would be 1.15 raised to 3. Here this would be 1 point, just a second. 1.15 raised to 2, and last one would be 1.15. So basically it means that you are getting the interest for the last period too. And why you are getting the interest and the return for the last period? Because sir, we are investing at the beginning of the each period. So you get this compounding factor. Whatever the compounding factor you get, you multiply that with whatever the amount you are investing, you get the future value of that single cash flow, and you add up all those future values, you get some amount at the end that is called as the future value of the entire cash flow stream, which are differential, uneven in nature. So what you can do over here is, in Excel, equal to 1 plus 1 plus r raised to n needs to be written, right? So I am just linking that r. Now r is not in percentage because there is some text as well inserted here. So I'm just removing this per annum, because I want to link that cell. If it would be there purely in a number, then it would be taken for the purpose of calculation in the Excel. So my friends, I'm just finding these compounding factors. You will also be doing it along with me. So equal to 1 plus r is 15%. That cell should remain constant for all the calculations later on. So I'm just fixing that cell, locking that cell, closing the bracket, and raised to 5 will be there, not 4. Now the problem over here is that if you will be writing 5, then in each and every formula you will have to insert it again. So what I'm doing is, I'm just inserting one more column over there, and I'm writing those numbers in a descending manner. Earlier it was in a ascending order. Now I'm writing it in a descending order, starting from 5 equal to the cell which where I've written 5 minus 1. So I'm just dragging it downside, and I have got 1, 5 to 1. That is in a descending order because raised to n will be 5, right? Now you will be writing 5 because see, the amount you are investing in the year number 1 at the beginning of the year 1 itself will be getting the interest for 5 years. You are taking the money back after 5 years, my friends. Here some people makes a mistake, puts 1 plus r raised to n equal to 1. No, do not start it from 1. For the year number 1, you get the interest for 5 years. For the year number 2, you'll get the interest for 2 years. The calculation must be descending in order. Pressing enter. Now I am, instead of 5, I'm just linking the cell where I have written 5, so that I'll be able to drag that formula. Pressing enter. Then I'm copying this and taking it further up to this. Now you'll have to just multiply your compounding factor with the amount of investment, and you have got all this FV amounts, future value amounts. You do the summation of this over here, you get the total you get the total amount of annuity at the end, sorry, the total amount of the cash flow stream at the end of the 5th year. May I have the confirmation from the students, please? So you will be having such kinda table here. Now this table, whether you prepare it manually or you prepare it in the Excel, it really does not make any difference, because here as well the calculation has to happen manually only. So 1.15 raised to 5 will be doing manually. The same answer obviously you are going to get, right? Now friends, let's take one more example. Here you have invested at the beginning of the period, right? So you can also use the formula of the FV. We'll be treating each and every cash flows as the single cash flows, and we are using the formula of the FV for each and every cash flows. So let's see what is the amount we are getting there. So FV, opening the bracket, let me use the magnifier so my bachas and batches gets it in a better way, equal to FV, open the bracket, then the rate is going to be 15%, which will also remain same for all this number of periods. So you can either manually write it 15% in the formula itself, or you may link the cell where 15% is written. And if you are linking the cell, then you should be locking that cell too. Comma. Number of periods will be changed over a period of time. You know, number of periods here, I'm putting 5. I'm linking the cell where 5 is written. So automatically, oops. So automatically, whenever I'll be dragging the formula, it will take 4, 3, 2, and 1, because it's a relative referencing. You know, we have learned it. Comma. PMT amount will not be there, obviously, so putting 0. Comma. The present value you will be having would be this amount of investment, obviously. So in first case, it would be 15. The second case, it would be 60, 70, 80, and 90, and so on. Comma. We are investing at the beginning of the period, right? So I'm writing 1, because that's what I have stated, no, that whether you are investing at the beginning or at the end, accordingly the interest amount will be calculated. Closing the bracket, and you may check it is giving you exactly the same answer. Now here we have got in the minus, you know. So let's do the Indian basic Inda jugaad that we used to do. So just before the PV, I'm inserting the sign of minus, because Excel assumes it as the cash outflow in every situation. I don't know why they're assuming it as the cash outflow. Why can't you be optimistic? It can be cash out inflow as well, no? Pressing enter. So copying that and pasting it down. Here as well, you have got the same amount. So you can also use the formula of the FV, but I have explained you this mechanism of this compounding factor so that your conceptual understanding is also built. May I have the confirmation from the students till this point of time, every one of you? Is everyone there with me till now? Miss Saraswati, I have received yes. Mr. Daksh, Miss Titli, Miss Veronica too, good to see that. Mr. Dipesh, nice to see Mr. Dipesh after a long period of time interacting in the class. Amazing. Good. What about the others? If you're stuck, let me know, huh? Because sir antaryami bilkul bhi nahi hai. Okay. Now, what would have been the case if you would have invested it at the end of the period? Now, this amounts you are investing, no, can be anything, my friends. Now, compounding frequency also can be different for each and every cash flows. Let's take such kind of example where the compounding frequency for the each and every cash flow will be different. Oh, let's go and take that example. You will start writing it along with me. Now, I'm taking the example of, say, Mr. Dipesh. Let me just again check the spelling of him. Otherwise, he would be like, sir, D-I nahi, D-double-E likhna hai. Okay, so I'm writing D-double-E. Dipesh wants to invest following, some people will be like, sir spelling तो देखो आपका, तो हाँ ना भाई, मिस्टेक हो जाती है, थोड़ा सा जल्दी करते हैं. Wants to invest the following amounts with different rates with different compounding frequencies. Okay, so you may just write it over there, starting from the serial number. And I do not require the sums in the, the pen paper sums for it, because I can create the sums of my own here. So you will also be writing it the same here, because such kind of varieties are not covered in the textbooks. But practically, if we see, we may get such kind of exposure, whenever we'll be working in the field of finance, or whenever we're doing the actual real practical life calculations. So serial number 1 of the cash flows, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me take only up to the 5. Now, amount of investment. Amount of investment, say, we are investing 1 lakh. Then we are investing 150. Then we are investing 2 lakhs. Obviously, it is increasing in nature, because Mr. Deepesh would be having the more and more money after some years to come. After some years to come. So then we'll have 250, and then we'll have 3 lakhs. Now the expectations of the rate of return of Mr. Deepesh is getting changed over a period of time. So my dear fellas and fellies, the expected rate of return of Mr. Deepesh is 16% in the first year. Then for the amount that he is investing in the second year, he is expecting 9%. Some people would like, such a great downfall. I don't know why. He would have become very pessimistic about his expectations of the return. I don't know why. Then it would be, say, 14%, then 19, and then again 11%. Now I'm using the different compounding frequencies. And the compounding frequency is monthly here. Then here it's quarterly. Then it is 6 monthly. Then it's a yearly. And then it's daily. Oops, daily. Oh. Then, sir, investment at in the first case it is beginning of the period, then it is end of the period, then beginning of the period, again end of the period, and this one is beginning at the period. So this, all the amounts of investments that you are making, whether that those investments are made at the beginning or at the end of the period. Now, if we have such kind of the complex calculations, now here in this case, first of all, it cannot be called an annuity at all, because the amount of investment is getting changed over a period of time. The rate of expectations of the return on each and every amount of investment is different for Mr. Deepesh. Now, possibly, he would have selected the different investment avenues for all these investments. So if he would have selected some safe kind of investment avenue like government securities, or some of the debt mutual funds, such kind of the investment avenues do not offer much return, but they are quite stable, less risky in nature. So that's why he is expecting little amount of rate on those kind of investments. So that entirely depends on what kind of investments he is making and what kind of the investment avenue. Then the compounding frequencies are also different. You people are aware about the compounding frequency, right? So say for example, here we have got 14% 6 monthly. So try to understand the compounding frequency again fundamentally. I am putting the too much of emphasis on the time value of money because I know the great importance of it. I know that how much important it would be for you in the upcoming few subjects of yours, which would be quite advanced level in nature. So friends, if you have 2 lakhs rupees and compounding frequency is yearly, then friends, you get 14% of the return on a year, right? So 14% on the 2 lakhs would be 28,000. So your fund value would be after the end of the first year 228. Now if it is semi-annual, then how does this compounding works? So there is a 2 lakhs of rupees you are investing. Then my dear friends, your interest amount is credited on each and every 6 months, and that is reinvested in your fund. So for the first 6 months, you get the rate of return of 7% here. So your investment value at the end of the first 6 months, end of first 6 months becomes 207. Now for the next 6 months, the 7% you get will not be on 2 lakhs. The 7% you get now will be on the 2 lakh 7,000. So higher the compounding frequency, my friends, better it is for you, because more and more compounding periods you will be having. More and more compounding periods you have, more and more money you will be able to get. So it's a lemon kinda language, that 12% you get, and whether it is compounded annually or monthly or semi-annually, they all will give the same answer. No, they will not give the same answer. The higher compounding frequency you get, better and better it is for you. So 7% on 2 lakh 7,000. So how much it is coming? Let me just calculate it. So 2 lakh 7,000 multiplied by 7%. So you get 14,490. Right? You add 14,490 over there. So my friends, you get 228,490. So you have earned the additional interest of 490 rupees because your compounding frequency was semi-annual. If you would have done it monthly, that means the interest amount is credited in your fund on a monthly basis. That's why many of the students comes to me and said that, sir, my father is investing in the fixed deposit and there are various compounding frequencies given to us as the option. So all of those compounding frequencies options are different in nature. So say for example, if you are getting 9% on per annum and compounding frequency is annual, and you are getting 8.9% per annum and the compounding frequency is say monthly, then there is a quite possibility that you will be able to earn more amount of money at 8.9%. So you'll have to select your investment option accordingly. You go to any bank, they give you the options for the compounding frequencies nowadays. They will ask you that whether you want the quarterly compounding, then this is the rate we are going to offer. If you want monthly compounding, this is the rate we are going to offer. Right? Okay, let's move to the calculation again. Some people will be like, sir, आप बहुत explain करते हैं, तो नहीं करूंगा, बस आपकी fundamental understanding के लिए है ये. Okay. क्योंकि ये सब एक बार आ गया ना, फिर जो नेक्स्ट मेरे पास the next topics that we are going to cover in third and fourth module will be very easy, a cakewalk for you, you know. So right now I'm putting more emphasis. So how you will be doing it manually? Say you are investing for the first time, then compounding factor you will be finding manually, right? So it's a monthly. So first of all, the rate should be converted monthly. So rate must be divided by 12, and at the beginning of the period, so you will have to check that how many number of, the compounding factors you'll be getting. So at the beginning, so you also get it for the first period too, right? So how many total number of periods would be? There are 5 years and it's monthly in nature. So 5 needs to be multiplied by 12. So number of periods would be how many? 60. So your compounding frequency would be, just a second, equal to 16 percentage divided by 12. So how much you get? 1.33 percentage. So if you are finding the compounding factor manually, so 1 plus 1.33 percentage can also be written in the decimal like 0.0133 raised to, you will be putting 60. Now, if I would have said that it is not invested at the beginning, but it is invested at the end, then my friend, you would have taken in the end 59, because you will not be getting the interest for the first period if you will be investing for the at the end of the month. I hope you are getting it. I'm just putting across every kind of the calculations and permutations and combinations in front of you, so you'll be crystal clear about this. So let's take a second one, because it's 1 plus r raised to n. We have done it, right? And that will be multiplied. Whatever the factor you are getting will be multiplied with the amount of investment. You get the future value of the first one. Then let's do it for the second one. What you will be doing there? Sir, at the second one, it's quarterly. So 9 percentage needs to be converted into quarterly. There are how many quarters in a year? 4. So I'm just writing 9 percentage to be divided by 4. So that comes around 2.225 percentage. So 1 plus 0.0225, sorry, 0.0225. Whatever the percentage you get, no, divided by 100. That's how you will be writing in the decimal. And can someone tell me what will be the number of periods now? कौन बताता है? चलो देखते हैं. Can someone tell me the number of periods for the second one?
Sir, 8.
8.
So 16. So 16.
16, surely?
Yes, sir.
Anyone else would have a different opinion? Check this statement as well. I'm highlighting that. Again, I'm highlighting that.
7.
No. Say you are investing in the second year, first of all, right? And you want to invest it up to 5 years. So here at the end of the 5 year, we want to get the money back. So from second year, you start investing. So second, third, fourth, and fifth. So there are how many number of years? First of all, 4 years. Now, the N needs to be made quarterly in nature, Now there are 4 quarters in a year. So if you multiply 4 years with the 4 quarters, you get 16. Now who said me 16 was right near to answer, but there was one more complication involved there, that investment was made at the end of the period. So you do not get the interest for the one period. Say there are 16 quarters and you start investing at the end of the first quarter. So obviously you do not get the interest for the first quarter. As simple as that. Yes or no? So here it would be 15. Am I clear? All of you? Let's take the third one. So good. Let's take the third one. It's looking a little bit messy, but I'm really sorry. I'm supposed to clarify your each and every fundamental doubt, that's why. Now we are finding the discounting factor, compounding factor for the third period. So it's a 6 monthly, right? So 1 plus rate must be divided by 2. So friend, it should be 0.07. because 7% can be written like 0.07. Now we are investing at the beginning of the period. Period is 6 monthly. So first of all, your N should be converted 6 monthly. So there are 3 years left now. So 3 years multiplied by, there are 2 semi-annual periods in a 1 year. So N would be 6. And I'm writing 6 only because we are investing at the beginning of the period. So even for the first period, you will be getting the interest because you are investing at the beginning of the period and not at the end of the period. So here it would be 6 only. But instead of beginning of the period, if I would have said that, sir, it's at the end of the period, then my fellas and fellies, instead of 6, I would have written 5, because for the first period, you do not get the interest if it is at the end of the period. But I'll not be writing 5. I'll be writing 6 only, because in our case, it's beginning. Let's take the fourth one. 1 plus 19 percentage. So who will tell me what will be the N?
Two.
Whether it is end or beginning. Say you are investing at the end of the 4th year and it's a yearly in nature. So obviously you do not get the interest for the 4th year, right? So you'll be getting interest only for the 5th year, no? And at the end of the 5th year, you want your money back. At the end of the 5th year, we want your money. Now 2,50,000 of rupees you are investing, that is invested at the end of the period. Though there are 2 years, but in the first year, my friends, that is specifically the 4th year, you are investing at the end of the 4th year, no? So you'll get the interest only for the 1 period. So N would be 1. Is it clear now? May I have the confirmation?
Yes,
Good. So let's calculate it. I hope you would have written it. किसी का अगर लिखने का बाकी है तो shall I wait for 1 minute more? If you haven't written it, I mean this question. I'm solving it in the Excel now. Manually, I was doing the notations because I wanted to explain it to you first. Okay. So yes, please.
So in daily, when compounding frequency is daily, so we will divide 11% by 365.
True. Very true.
Okay, sir.
Absolutely true. And number of periods will be multiplied by 365. So obviously you have 1 year. So 1 year will be multiplied by 365, right? So N would be 365. Because on daily basis you get your interest credited. Some people will be like, sir, is it practicable? Yes, there are certain SIPs in the mutual funds which gives you even the daily compounding. Not very much famous among the people because in a daily compounding, but there are certain, you may check it. Okay. Let's go and find the compounding factor. So equal to 1 plus R. R stands for the 16%. I'm just linking that cell over here. That is to be divided by 12, comma, because it's monthly in nature, and we are investing at the beginning. So N shouldn't be reduced, whatever the N we get must be there. So I'm putting that in a bracket only so that raised to will be there in a proper bracket. So power will be there in a bracket. So obviously, sir, there are 5 years that is to be multiplied by 12. So you get 60 basically. And from 60, we are not reducing 1. Why we are not reducing 1? Because investment is made at the beginning of the period only. So pressing enter. So compounding factor stands around 2.21 for this. Then there is a 9%. Let's go over there. equal to 1 plus R. R is going to be 9%. That is to be divided by 4, comma, raised to, now raised to N. N would be how much? There are 4 years. 4 years are first multiplied by 4, because you in a year you have 4 quarters. So there has to be 16. But you'll not be getting the interest for 1 quarter because you are investing at the end of the period. So 1 quarter's interest will not be given to you. So total number of periods shall be 15. So I can just write it 16 minus 1, or I may also write it 15. I'm writing it 16 minus 1 so that whenever you will be referring it back from your Excel file, you will be able to know that why I have put 15 instead of 16 there. Pressing enter. Equal to, next one now. 1 divided by, sorry, 1 plus 14%. That is a 6 monthly, so it should be divided by 2. Closing the bracket. Pressing the enter. No, not pressing the enter, sorry, raised to. Raised to, we are investing at the beginning of the period. So, sir, how many total number of periods are there? 6 monthly. So there are 3 years. So 3 years will be multiplied by 2. So there are 6 periods, right? And 6 periods will remain 6 period. We are not going to reduce it from 6 because anyway it's made at the beginning of the period only. So raised to would be 6. Equal to 1 plus 19%, which anyway yearly in nature, so I'm not going to divide it further. And we are investing at the end of the period. So you obviously get interest only for the 1 year, because at the end of the 5th year, anyway, we are going to withdraw our money back. So raised to just 1. So 1.19 coming there. And then we have the daily. So 1 plus, as it was stated by Ms. Vaishali very correctly, that's our rates to be divided by 365, because in a year we have 365 days. Closing the bracket. Then raised to, and raised to again there would be 365. So if you would have, if you would have invested the end of the day, that means at the end of the period, obviously you do not get the interest for the first day. You get the interest for the first day only if you invest at the beginning of the day, because then only the interest of that day would be due to you, right? So here it's the beginning only. So I'm going to write 365. If this would have been the end of the period, I would have written 364. Okay, pressing enter. You have got the compounding factors. Multiplying the compounding factors with the amount of investment you make. So at the end of the day, now there is a shortcut key for the summation. Alt equal to, so it will be automatically catching the range there. Alt equal to. Pressing the enter. This is the money Mr. Deepesh would be having after end of the 5th year. So when we will go to every investment avenues and he will withdraw the money, in total he would have 13,63,336. Is it absolutely clear? Confirmation, please. All of you. Mr. Jaidev has said yes. Mr. Vishal has said yes as well. Good to see. Mr. Dhruv, Mishreya, if you're stuck anywhere, please let me know, guys. Mr. Allen. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So can we use the FV formula also here?
Absolutely. Why not? Let's do it. FV formula equal to FV opening the bracket. First one is the rate, obviously, so rate will be selected and it's monthly. So whatever the rate you have selected, no, will be divided by 12, right? So dividing it by 12, pressing the comma to go to the next parameter. Then there is a number of periods. Now can someone tell me what will be the number of periods? 5.
5 into 12.
Very true. So I am writing 60 there, comma, good, 60. Then it will be PMT. So PMT, I am writing it as 0, comma, the PV. PV is the amount of investment you make, obviously. So putting the sign of minus over there to get the answer positive, you know. So I'm selecting the cell. Okay. Let me just go over there and select this 1 lakh of rupees of investment. So once PV is selected, then it's been asked to you that whether it's the beginning or at the month, you will be writing, sir, it's at the beginning of the period. So you'll be selecting 1, closing the bracket, pressing the enter. You have got 221,380.69, which is exactly the same, obviously, because here we have got bit of a rounding off here. So the second one, you will be doing it again, equal to FV, opening the bracket, the rate you will be selecting. So whatever the rate you have got, 9%. Sir, that is to be divided by 4. Very true, comma. Now get my point here. Get my point here. When you are finding the compounding factor manually, I was manually reducing the n by 1 when it was investment at the end of the period, you know. But in the Excel, you will not be manually reducing your number of periods by 1, because anyway, if you select your type of investment at the end of the period, no, it will automatically reduce the interest for the 1 year, 1 period. So here you have 4 years, so you will be selecting 16 quarters only. That is the only difference you have in the formula. When I was finding the compounding factor manually here, at that point of time, I used to manually change it to 15. Here in this case, you will not be manually changing it to 15, because Excel is smart enough to identify whether you are investing at the end of the period or at the beginning of the period. So you're writing 16 only there, comma. PMT will obviously be 0, comma. PV will be taken at this value, 150, comma. Now you'll just be selecting the end of the period. And the end of the period, my friends, is going to be 0 over here. Closing the bracket, pressing enter. Just a second. No, it is giving me only for the 15. Just a second. Okay, so it is not following this concept of beginning and end when it is the single transaction cash flow. The same for beginning and the end is followed only when it is annuity. Okay, that I didn't know. Anyway, so you will be writing whatever the number of periods actually are, and you will not be writing the 16 there. Please, I'm sorry. Please take it out of your mind. So whatever the number of actual periods you have, that only you will be writing there. Excel is not automatically catching it. It will automatically catch beginning at the end of the period only when it will be annuity, you know. Because here if you write 15 or 16, then accordingly only it will get the calculations. Fine, sorry. So in the single cash flow, and that was I guess discussed as well when we were doing the single cash flow transaction by using the F. You know, I had told you that when you are doing it for the single cash flow, this 0 and 1 does not matter. It matters only when it comes to the annuity. Fine, no worries. Okay, you will be writing it 15 only. And why you are getting the interest for the 15 years, that is pretty much understood by you, right? When you are investing at the end of the period, obviously, sir, For that one period, you do not get the interest. As simple as that. Pressing the enter. And we have got answer in minus, so I'm just putting the sign of minus over there before K49 to get the ultimate answer positive. May I have the confirmation from all the students, please? All of you? Till now?
Yes, sir, understood.
Okay, good. So accordingly, you will be using the formula. Let me do it for that daily wala as well, so that you will be crystal clear with that. So equal to FV, opening the bracket, the first one is rate. So rate is 11% to be divided by 365, comma. Then you get the number of periods. Number of periods are anyway, sir, going to be 365 because only 1 year is pending to be done and we are investing at the beginning of the daily basis only. So there would be 365. And if it would have been at the end of the period, I would have written 364 instead of 365. As simple as that. Comma. PMT will be 0. Obviously, we do not have any PMT because it's not an annuity. Comma. PV would be using the sign of minus and selecting the 3 lakhs there. Comma. And here the type does not matter. So you just close the bracket, pressing the enter, you have got 334,877. And anyway, the type is in optional over there, After that, if you just do not write 0 or 1 and you do not write any type only, then also it's fine because that's there in a big bracket. You may check it up. So whatever is there in a big bracket, that means it's optional in nature. Confirmation there, please, all of you. So I think the future value should be absolutely clear to you now. Now, only variety which is pending to be done in the future value of annuity is the continuous compounding. It's already 10:41. Oops, it has already taken too much of time of us. Anyway, that's fine. We'll be doing it in the next session. Otherwise, I'll be taking your break, So just put your enrollment number as a mark of your attendance today. If you have any question or query, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm assuming that you are crystal clear with this. Okay. There was a one thing observed that Miss Veronica had written the enrollment number incorrectly last time around. So that's why her attendance was not marked. So that's the humble submission again from my side that when you're writing your enrollment number in the chat box, please make sure that you are writing it correctly because I'm just fetching it from the chat box and I'm using one macro software in the Excel that automatically puts the attendance, the automation we were talking about. No, that's we have applied practically. So if you'll be not writing your enrollment number properly, it will not be marking my attendance in the system. That's why. Okay, bye bye. Take care. Sayonara. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you all in the next session.